You walk into a room, and before anyone speaks, you already know. Something's off. Maybe it's the way your friend didn't quite meet your eyes, or how your coworker's smile arrived a half-second too late. No one has said anything. But you feel it, a quiet tension beneath the surface that others seem to walk right past. If you've ever had this experience, you're not imagining it. And you're not alone. A lot of people move through social situations registering these invisible cues: the slight drop in someone's tone, a pause that lingers just a moment too long, the way a person angles their body away when they usually lean in. It's not magic. It's something your brain has learned to do, often without you realizing when or why it started. But sometimes the very thing that helps you connect can also leave you overwhelmed or uncertain about what's actually yours to carry. This kind of awareness can feel confusing. Sometimes it makes you feel overly sensitive. Other times, it's exhausting, like you're receiving signals you never asked for. But here's something worth knowing. This tendency often comes from real, understandable places. Your brain has developed a pattern recognition system that compares what you're seeing now against a baseline of how people usually behave. When something deviates, even slightly, your attention gets pulled toward it, almost automatically. So why does this happen? It's more layered than you might expect. For some people, it traces back to early social learning. Growing up in an environment where emotional shifts mattered, where the atmosphere could change suddenly, or someone close to you was unpredictable, can train the brain to scan for cues. Over time, reading faces, voices, and body language becomes almost reflexive. This doesn't apply to everyone, but it's a common thread. There's also something subtler going on. You're often catching small deviations from what's normal for a specific person. You're not just seeing their face, you're comparing it to every other time you've seen it. When a usually warm friend seems distant, that contrast stands out because you've built an unconscious map of how they typically are. And then there's prediction. Your brain constantly makes fast guesses about what's happening around you. This can be useful, but it can also get ahead of the evidence. You might sense someone is upset and be completely right, or you might be projecting something that isn't there. The prediction system is powerful. It just doesn't always double-check before delivering conclusions. Context matters too. You're not reading people in isolation. You're factoring in the setting, the relationship, recent events. Someone seeming withdrawn at a party reads differently than at work after a difficult week. You're processing the room, the history, and the moment all at once. For some, there's also a kind of ongoing awareness of group dynamics, a low-level scan of whether things feel relaxed or tense. This isn't a flaw. It's often a natural response to past experiences where staying attuned to collective mood felt important for safety or belonging. Then there's mirroring, sometimes called emotional contagion. You walk into a tense room and start feeling tense yourself. You sit with someone who's anxious, and slowly your chest tightens. This helps with empathy, but it can blur the line between your feelings and theirs, leaving you drained or confused about what actually belongs to you. Sometimes your body picks up cues before your conscious mind names them. A tightness in your stomach, a shift in your breathing, a vague sense that something's wrong. These gut responses can reflect real information. But stress and fatigue can amplify them, making neutral situations feel charged. Your body collects data constantly. It just isn't always accurate. And sometimes this skill backfires. Imagine texting a friend and getting a shorter reply than usual. Your brain starts spinning. Did I say something wrong? Only to learn later they were just busy. Or picture a group hangout where one person seems withdrawn. You spend the next hour monitoring them, adjusting your energy, maybe even feeling responsible for lifting the mood, when really they were just tired and happy to listen. Or a family dinner where conversation feels slightly off. You quietly replay earlier moments, wondering who's upset, only to find out afterward that someone was simply distracted by work. The signal was real. The interpretation wasn't. This leads to a few misconceptions worth questioning. One is the belief that if you sense something, it must be true. But sensing isn't the same as knowing. Your impressions are clues, not certainties. Another is feeling that once you detect someone's mood, it's your job to fix it. But awareness and responsibility aren't the same. You can be attuned without being obligated. Some people worry that being sensitive to moods makes them weak. But attentiveness isn't weakness, it's just attention. What matters is what you do with it. And finally, There's the assumption you can read anyone accurately. Even perceptive people misread situations. Some people are harder to read, not because you failed, but because emotional expression varies. So where's the line between a healthy skill and an unhelpful habit? When it's healthy, you might register a shift, pause, feel curious, and gently check in. You hold space for someone's mood without absorbing it. You know where you end and they begin. When it's unhelpful, you walk on eggshells, constantly adjusting to manage others' emotions. You might people please, mind read, or carry responsibility that isn't yours. The scanning becomes constant instead of selective. If that second description feels familiar, a few shifts can help. Pause before reacting. A breath or two. Picking something up doesn't mean you must respond immediately. Ask a simple question when it matters. You seem quiet, everything okay? Lets you check your read instead of assuming. Separate your mood from theirs. Before deciding someone's upset, ask, how am I feeling right now? Remember, you don't need to monitor everyone. Selective attention is allowed. And if you need a boundary, try a quiet internal line, that's not mine to carry. This kind of awareness, when grounded, can deepen connection. It's not about turning it off, it's about being intentional. This is general psychology education, and people vary, so treat your sense as a clue and check when it matters. If any of this felt familiar, you're not alone. A lot of people navigate this quietly, picking up more than others seem to, wondering what to do with it, trying to trust their instincts without letting those instincts take over. It's a balance. And simply knowing that balance exists is already a step toward finding it.